Tax cuts, they're the ultimate electoral aphrodisiac. And the Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, was handing out the pheromones at the Business Council dinner last night. It was hours after the International Monetary Fund said it thinks Australia's budget is kind of on track to return to surplus or profit in 2020-21. But it also said growth over the next year is going to be slower than the government or Reserve Bank have forecast. Now, all that raises a question. Where's the money coming from to pay for the tax cuts? Good question for a country that's forecast to have $356 billion of net debt within 18 months. So that's almost $1 billion for every day of the year. To work out likely tax cuts, you've also got to look at the current scales. You know how this works? The more you earn, the extra dollars get taxed at the higher rate. So last year, the government increased that 32.5% threshold from $80,000 to $87,000 because potentially hundreds of thousands of average wage earners, Aussies, were going to end up in the second highest tax rate in the land. So one thing they could do is to raise income thresholds. So the, say, $37,000 threshold goes to $40,000. So somebody on $87,000 a year doesn't pay higher taxes until they earn $90,000. Now, that'd save you about, well, $400 a year, and it would cost the budget $4.2 billion. Now, Chris Richardson from All Access Economics says another option is to cut the 32.5% tax rate down to 30%, but he says this will cost the budget $7.4 billion a year. So a person earning, say, $90,000 a year will get a tax saving of $1,250 a year, $100 a month. Now, what Turnbull's doing is putting political space between him and Bill Shorten. Labor wants to reinstate an extra 2% tax on those earning more than $180,000 a year. It's a so-called debt levy the government ended from July this year. Labor also wants to change negative gearing and the generosity of the capital gains tax rules. It says company tax rates should be limited, or cuts should be limited to small business, whereas Turnbull says a 25% company rate should apply to all businesses to keep them competitive with other developed nations. A tax, as I say, the ultimate electoral aphrodisiac. The Dow Jones up 87, the dollar 75.5 US cents.